start again. It's a ranch thing.
Got something in the mail today, and I just got to try to figure out where I'm going to put it. This is overflow tank for the radiator. Well, not specifically for the radiator, but for the coolant. So now I just have to figure out where I want to mount it. I think I had kind of gone over it just briefly, and I thought maybe, I don't know if I want to put it up here, even though it will be hidden if I do put it up here. Huh. And the other problem with putting it up front here is that the connection is way back here. Now, I thought of putting it on the back firewall underneath where that TPS sensor is at, but the fuel regulator is right there, and I want to kind of have access to that. So I think that's out of the question right there. I could mount it I don't know. And it looks like I'm going to have to make some sort of a bracket anyways. I don't know, maybe right there? No, because then that hose will run through here. I think if I put it up front somewhere right here, I can make a bracket, and then the hose I could run underneath everything where all these other hoses are going, and then it'll connect straight up to that. Or maybe up to the side here? Yeah, if I run it off to the side like this, the hose can be hidden with these guys right here. But overall, I think no matter where I mount it, I'm going to have to make some sort of a bracket tomorrow to actually mount this. I thought it was actually going to be bigger than this, but I'm glad it isn't. It's a little bit more compact, so yeah, that'll work. I think this thing right here, you can actually rotate it. So I can put it something like that, run the hose underneath right here, and it'll be hooked up right there and kind of be hidden. Yep, I think that's what I'm going to do. So I guess I have to remove this carbon fiber Kevlar cooling plate, and then figure out what kind of bracket I need to make. I cut or installed the overflow tank, and as you just saw, it came out pretty nice. Ended up last night after recording last time, just kind of using a drum sander to kind of sand out that little scallop that was down there to clear for the filler or the cap. And so I brought these in today. I did take a measurement of how long I needed the hose to go from the cap to the overflow tank, and it was about 24 inches. I went to the hardware store, or not hardware, to auto parts store. Picked up 6 feet of this hose. It was like $4, but I want that hose to kind of match the other hose that I have on there for the radiator, the -16 AN hose. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it with this stuff. And then I already cut it out, 24 inches of this, a little bit shorter of the loom to go from here to about right here. Alright, got some heat shrink tubing on the end of the hoses, or on the end of the loom actually. And I use the same method that I did on the wiring. I put a little bit of this cloth tape to kind of cover up the fibers of the loom. That way I can get that heat shrink tubing, because it was a little bit small. But that's a good thing, because it keeps it in, it keeps it from sliding up and down the tube. So here it is, and then I think this side will probably be underneath the can, and then this will go up towards the cap area right here, because it has a shorter kind of length. And I'm just going to use zip ties, black zip ties, to hold it in place. I don't want to use any chrome ones or anything like that. So and it'll blend in with that black anyways. So I just made an interesting discovery. I just uploaded a video basically compiling the majority of the stuff that I've done to build my car. And I get a notification from YouTube saying that there's some entity or somebody out there using some of my content and using it as their own. And I was totally unaware of that, so I double checked, and sure enough, there's a guy named Zeus Cardini or something like that, using my drift trike videos, and using them as his own. And mind you, this was back in 2015, and I'm barely getting notified now. So if you're a content creator, you might want to look up your copyright settings on YouTube and see if anybody's using your stuff. So yeah, go ahead and check that out. So yeah, wrapping up the that hose and this stuff really gives it a cleaner look. And that's pretty much what I did with a couple of the other hoses that I have there. So yeah, this is all done here. Still waiting on the starter. Today is Saturday. I checked the mail, it wasn't in today, so hopefully it'll be in on Monday. Yeah, I know I could be using that thing, but I just don't want to torque it down too much. I put a riv nut in there, and I did sand off the anodizing that they put on that finish washer, just so it makes good contact with that riv nut down under there. And ended up taking off the starter because I got the other one. But it's the wrong one. I mean, we should all know that by now. I made 3 little ground cables, and so one will go somewhere there. I know they're like, this starter actually has a point to mount grounds like that, and then mount it somewhere else. But like I say, this one doesn't fit, and the only reason it doesn't fit is because the mounting hole are wider on this one. Now I bought a starter for a 99 Honda Civic SI with the B16. I don't know why it doesn't fit. You know, you can't do a B18 from like a Acura Integra Type R. But I don't know. I guess tomorrow. I ordered this one online. This one here. Because this one, the one that I could order like from O'Reilly's and all them, was going to take a week to come in anyway. So I was like, well, I'll just order it online. And it did take about a week to come in. And it's the wrong one. So tomorrow I'm going to see on eBay if I can return this one. I mean, I haven't even installed it. The holes didn't even line up. So see if I can return it and either order another one or just get my money back. I don't know. But usually when you order stuff on eBay and they say you can return it, you have to pay for shipping. It's like, it's not worth it. All right, kids. If you plan on returning stuff you buy online, don't do exactly what I just did. Now, this one here, this starter, is a Frankenstein starter that I pieced together with the new parts and the old parts, making this one starter here. The solenoid is new, the motor is new. I had to reuse the cap from the old one because the bolts didn't line up. I had to reuse the housing out here and put the new gears on the inside. So everything on the inside is brand new. The casing is the old stuff. You can see that this stuff here, this is the old gears. This is the new housing, the old brushes that are on there. And so I'm going to connect it. And I kind of just put it in there to see if the holes line up. And of course they do, because this is the old housing that was already on there. So it does line up. All I got to do is connect it and see if it works. I don't know. Like I said, I don't have the switch here, but I can go ahead and run that hot wire straight up to this and see if it turns it. All right, so it's hooked up. I obviously don't have the trigger wire on, but we just want to see if this motor is going to turn stronger than that other one did, because that other one was really weak. Let's see if I can do this without creating a ton of sparks here. Oh yeah, did you hear that? That was way stronger than that other starter was. So, yeah. All right, so I think this might solve that problem that I've had with that weak starter. I just got to wait till I get the dashboard in with the switches. Definitely getting better at pulling this dashboard in and out of the car. But yeah, I contemplated whether I should just take off that panel and hook up the power and see if it worked. But I mean, like I say, I'm getting better at taking it out, so it only took me like 30-40 seconds to get it inside. If you guys saw the last video I just uploaded, it's basically a compilation video, cuts of me building the car over the last couple years. Mind you, I did have somebody kind of comment on the video about why it would take me so long to build a car. And, you know, they kind of commented that it would probably take them half the time to build something like this. Mind you, like I say, I have been working on this car on my days off, which is only Sunday, and not every Sunday, and after work for a couple hours. So all in all, I would say maybe if I kind of compiled all of the time that I've spent working on this car, maybe a good 8 months, I guess. Because, like I say, last winter I put it in storage, and so it sat in winter for, I think it was like 6-7 months or something like that. We had a long winter. Brought it back out, and in a period, let's see, when did I bring it out? I brought it out in March, April, that I started kind of working on it. And again, I did quite a bit there. I managed to smooth the inside and out engine bay, paint the whole thing, build the roll cage, do the rear suspension and front suspension, paint this, everything, the subframe, get that all assembled. And I think that might be it. I mean, I'm sure I'm missing something. There's a lot of things that I've done to this car, but that is the reason why it is taking me so long. If you can build a car faster than that, good for you. I'm taking my time building this car because I want it to run the first time, and I don't want it to burn up after the first start. So hopefully those who have watched at least some of my videos, and thank you if you've watched all the videos, you know, thank you to all my subscribers as well. And if you've watched all the videos, you will know exactly what I've done to this car to get it to where it's at right now. So back to what I'm doing now. Brought the switch panel in, which controls the ignition or starter. I did a little bit of homework as far as what else I need to connect. And I think there's 3 wires that go into the ECU that power the ECU itself. I suspected there had to be something going inside that ECU to power it up before you even try and turn it on. In the instructions, there it says that one of the wires in that switch panel goes to, what did I do with that wire or that paper? So one of these wires is labeled ignition power to device, right there. So I'm assuming that that is the particular wire that needs to be connected to the wires that go into the ECU that power on certain aspects of that ECU in order to make the car run. And what I really want to do is hook it up, turn on the power, and then see if I have power running to those particular wires that I've found online as far as the pinout goes for that P28. Well, that looks like that did it. Originally, I tried it and the solenoid wasn't clicking on and off. And then, so I took it apart again, thinking maybe I put the solenoid back on wrong or something like that. And sure enough, I did. But I corrected it, tightened it all up, and now it turns. All right, hurdle number one is completed. Got the starter to turn the motor, but as I suspected, the fuel isn't. I mean, the fuel is reaching the engine, but I need to find those power wires that go into the ECU to basically power everything else. I mean, you need to power the distributor, you need to power this, everything else that needs power running from the ECU. So hopefully tomorrow I can do a little bit more homework, find out which wires exactly go into that ECU that need power going to them, and hopefully I can get this thing running. Hopefully I can get these power wires resolved as far as going into the ECU. I did find, like I say, online diagrams and pinouts for the P28 ECU showing where the power needed to go. So we'll get that all resolved, and maybe, just maybe, I can keep with the end of the month start of this car. The weather is supposed to turn or get snow or moisture or something like that by next Sunday. Today is Tuesday, yeah. So like I say, tomorrow I'm going to go in, try and find out what wires go to what, and then hopefully hook up power to the ECU. Now that I have power going to the starter, power going to the fuel fuel pump, and then yeah, hopefully just start it. I don't know. All right, I almost lost my cool there. Okay, I went through just wiring diagrams online, through the manual, just trying to diagnose why it was not starting. So, number one, found out which wires go to power the ECU. That works. I powered that on, and the lights turn on the ECU. So those are on. Tried starting it again. Still nothing. It just turned. No fire. So I pulled out one of the spark plugs. Well, originally I pulled out the number one spark plug, and there was water inside there. So I thought maybe the spark was jumping, because I had actually washed the engine, if you remembered, and of course water got inside there. And I don't have my blowgun here, I have it at work, so I couldn't blow out the water that was in there, so I just took out the spark plugs, or the spark plug, and I wanted to check as well to see if there was fuel getting to that spark plug. And so, yeah, it smelled like fuel, and so I said, all right, let me check and see if there's spark. So I checked, I put the spark plug on the number one cylinder, turned it over, started turning it over by jumping the starter, and then it kicked over a couple of times, and I didn't see any spark. So I pulled off the second one and tried that one, and it kicked over a couple of times, no spark, but then it stopped completely. And then I tried jumping again, no power, and I checked the maybe the starter was stuck in on the turning position where it rotates the flywheel. And so I was trying to turn the pulley down there, and it was stuck. And I immediately thought I had froze the engine or did something to the engine, and I put a a socket there to turn it, and still nothing. It was stuck. But then I did it in reverse, and it started turning. And so I pulled off all the plugs, and this time I put a little bit of oil in each little hole after I pulled off the spark plugs, and I rotated it quite a bit. I think I was using this guy. So yeah, so now it's turning, no problem. So yeah, that just kind of freaked me out a little bit. So I checked inside, and that fuse panel or fuse block that I have, one of the fuse that I had running to the starter blew. And so I pulled off the starter, I checked it, and it's for some reason it's stuck. Either the solenoid gave out, something is up with that starter. So that is where that starter is going to sit. I'm not using it anymore. Tomorrow I'll go into town and buy the appropriate starter that I need for this engine, instead of making this Frankenstein thing to try and make it work. But that still doesn't solve the problem that I have no spark. So either one of the two things is happening. I was going to check, and I still got to check that. Make sure everything's lined up, put it in top dead center, make sure that's on number one spark plug, put that on 0. Yeah, I got to do, I guess, a little bit more homework on the wiring and see why I have no spark. And I'm hearing like a what in the world is that? Could that be? I've never had that happen. Alright, so I figured out what was making that noise. It sounded like it was coming around from the intake manifold somewhere. I unplugged the map sensor, the TPS sensor, and that didn't work. But I unplugged the idle air control valve, and that got rid of it. So the idle air control valve is bad. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I've never ever heard that happen before. But yeah, and another thing, when I would turn on the power button for the ignition, the green light would turn on in the ECU, and then it would shut off, and then it would start vibrating like that. And when I unplugged it, I tried it again, and the light stayed green. So not sure if that's the problem. Might have to buy another idle air control valve. So, yeah. Oh God, I just knew that the wiring of this car was going to be the number one problem that it would take forever to figure out. So I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead and I guess call it a night and see how much a starter is. I guess I'm going to order it I'm not going to order it online this time. Actually go to the store, and in case it gives out I can return it or whatever. But yeah, that's it'll eventually I will get it running. But for now it's just going to have to be one of those things where it has to wait until I kind of figure out all this madness. So yeah, that's what I woke up to this morning. Woo, it is cold. Seems to be holding up though. That was the one thing I was worried about, was the snow, the weight of the snow falling on top and kind of weighing it down. But the only other problem is the snow kind of blowing underneath, as you can kind of see. But it's not falling on the car, so that's the good thing. So yeah, it's kind of, and all I did was I got that push broom and I kind of pushed up, you know, on the top, and it just slid off. So that was good. But yeah, winter's here. And yeah, it's cold, man. I don't even want to go anywhere. Oh, man. So we got, let's see, I'd say there's about 8 inches of snow. And it's still coming down. And I got to go to work. So I'm warming up the truck. And yeah, it's crazy.